This is my Coleman Cooler Quad chair, and in this video we'll be testing for its ease of setup, packaway, features including the cooler, pockets, armrests, and much more. To set up this chair, first undo the drawstring at the top of the chair and release the cinch. Next, stand the carry bag up, pull down on the bag, and pull the chair out. I'm not very strong, so I find this to be the easiest way for me. Now, locate the four corners of the chair, grab opposite corners, pull it open, and it's basically all done. When I timed myself setting it up, it took me just 8 seconds. To pack away the chair, lift it up, grab opposite corners again, and pull everything together. If you're not strong like me, you'll want to lay it flat on the ground to do so. It's much easier to get the feet into the bag this way. When the chair frame is back in, stand it up and fold the rest in. There's a lot of fabric that bunches up at the top, and the soft cooler was especially bulky, so this will take a bit more time than you'd think. Here's another full time lapse, and my entire packaway took me about 35 seconds, including getting everything back into the bag. As for the unfolded dimensions, here's what I measured. The longest width from armrest to armrest comes in at about 35.5 inches. The longest length, which is from the back of the chair to the front of the seat, that comes in at almost 24 inches. And the total height is about 40 inches from the ground to the top of the chair. So the marketed specs for these unfolded dimensions are quite accurate. Now, if you want more detailed seat measurements, here's everything to know, starting with the seat size, which has a marketed width of about 24 inches. When I measured it, the total seat width really did come in at almost 24 inches. It's actually 23.25 inches to be exact. But if we take into account the two steel bars by the sides, the actual seat width drops down to like 19 inches or about 4.25 inches less. So this might give you a little less space than what you were expecting, but for me it was still more than enough. Seat depth from the back to the front of the seat is 18.5 inches. As for seat height, that is supposed to come in at about 18.1 inches. So when you measure the seat height from the front of the chair, it's pretty accurate, actually more in fact, almost 19 inches. However, after you sit down and you take the height from the ground upwards to where you're sitting down, that comes in at just 13.5 inches. So the seat actually sinks down by about 5.25 inches. The backrest height, which is from where the seat ends to the top of the chair, comes in at about 23.5 inches. This was enough to cover my entire back, but not enough to give me a neck rest. In fact, the entire bag is actually pretty floppy, so even though it seems quite high at like 23 plus inches, when you fold everything down to make it less floppy, the real backrest height is actually only about 19 inches. And the backrest width is 21.25 inches. Lastly, the angle of recline from the side, taken with a digital protractor, is about 9 degrees, so slightly reclined. Now, we're moving into features, starting with the armrests. They're actually quite thickly padded, probably made of the same material as the rest of the chair. You can also reach behind and adjust the armrest connections at the back. If you have short arms, move the connections up. And if you're taller and have longer arms, move them down so you'll have more space. Right in the middle is actually perfect for me. One small con here is that higher quality chairs tend to have buckles in addition to just the connections that can move up and down. This makes sure that it doesn't loosen over time when you keep using the chair, but the Coleman Cooler Quad doesn't have that, so it'll slip eventually when you use it in too high a spot. Moving on to storage, this is a program holder by the side of the chair. It's actually split into 3 separate pockets, 2 smaller ones at the front separated by a divider, and a bigger one at the back. Total length is 11 3/4 of an inch. The front pockets measure about 6 3/4 of an inch in width, and the larger one at the back is 8 inches in width. Overall, the pocket size is very generous and you can fit quite a lot in there. The next feature this chair has is a mesh cup holder. It has a diameter of slightly more than 3 inches, so it fits all cans, but not like bigger mugs or bottles. The length of the cup holder is less than 3 inches though, so kinda short, and you won't be able to fit like long and thin bottles because they will be unstable. The next feature is the soft cooler. This is built into the left armrest and has dimensions of about 10 by 7 inches. To open it, pull back on the handle to unzip double zips, and then it also has a Velcro in the front. This cooler has insulated padding on the inside. As for sizing, it fits 4 cans. It's not meant for plastic bottles because it's too tall to zip it shut, and I'll give you more info and test results and the pros and cons in just a bit. But for now, as for materials, this entire chair is made of some sort of like unspecified fabric, probably polyester like most other Coleman chairs, and both the seat and backrest are quite thickly padded, which will keep you warmer on cooler days. The chair frame is made of X-shaped cross poles, which is pretty standard in most like regular camp chairs. The material of the frame is steel, and the thickness of each of the poles comes in at about 0.63 inches in diameter, which is also an average measurement. And here's some additional info. This has a 1-year warranty, like most Coleman gear, and it's made in China. For portability, this chair has a pack size of about 37.5 inches in length by 7 inches in width and about 5.5 inches in height. This is actually slightly smaller than the marketed folded dimensions. For some reference, this pack size is about 40% longer than a 2-person Coleman Sundom tent. For easy carry, the bag comes with a shoulder strap. It's not padded and not adjustable, but it works well enough. The weight of the chair comes in at about 8 pounds. The storage bag weighs 2.72 ounces or about 0.2 pounds. So the total weight is about 8.2 pounds, which is slightly lighter than expected. For pros, this is a Coleman chair, so the price is definitely a lot more affordable than many other brands out there. For this price, what kind of other pros do you get? Well, the setup is very fast, coming in at just 8 seconds. The pack away was fine as well, and though it was a bit more hassle to get everything back into the bag, I still managed to get it packed away in about, give or take 30 seconds. I like that the seat size is decently big too. Dimensions were given to you in a previous test. Most camp chairs come in at least a few inches smaller, about 17 by 15 inches on average, so this chair was slightly bigger than average. The seat height is also slightly taller than average too, by about 2.5 inches, because most camp chairs come in at a quite low height of 11 inches. And last but not least, this chair is quite feature-rich, complete with adjustable and padded armrests, a mesh cup holder, some of the biggest pockets I've ever seen on a chair, which can hold lots of stuff, and even a 4-can cooler, which is not a common feature in camp chairs. But as I promised earlier, one of the cons is that the cooler is kind of overrated and doesn't work the best. If this video has been helpful so far, please help me hit that like button for more reviews like this. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. Now, I tested this cooler by chilling 2 cans and then putting one out in the open and the other in the cooler. I let them sit for about 2.5 hours, and then I took the temperature of each can with a temperature gun, and here's a consolidated summary of all my results. So the starting temperature was about 12 degrees Celsius for each can. 2.5 hours later, the can inside the cooler was 25 degrees, while the one left out in the open was 28 degrees. I also took a separate non-refrigerated can left out in the open the whole time, and that was about 31 degrees, so this is about the room temperature. So as you can see, this only manages to keep the can cooler by about 3 degrees Celsius or about 5 degrees Fahrenheit, and the ending temperature is actually much closer to room temperature than a chilled temperature. So in other words, it works a little bit, but not super well. To be fair, I didn't pre-chill the cooler, but it leaks a lot of cool air anyway, so I don't think it would have made a lot of difference in the end. Also, I noticed that since the soft cooler is made of the same material as the rest of the chair, it wasn't waterproof and it will get rained out during a heavy rainstorm. This will heat up all of the cans inside, so again, not the most effective cooler. Overall though, I think this is a great budget chair, and I'd get it if you need a chair that's not expensive, but also slightly bigger and slightly taller than average. But if you like the cooler function and you're buying specifically for that cooler on a chair, well, it's not a fantastic cooler, and honestly, there are better Coleman chairs out there that might suit you better instead. To find out which ones those are, I bought and tested actually 20 different camp chairs. 3 of them are from Coleman. You can check out everything you need to know in this video on screen right now. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in that one.